Hello, hello, Stingrays. Here we are, part 2 of the Time Warp Trio, Knights of the Kitchen Table. We just left off with the 3 boys were stuck in medieval times when there was a black knight that was about to charge at them. And we don't know how it's going to end so far with the very first chapter, if the Black Knight is going to keep charging and they're going to get hurt, or somehow if they can escape. So now we're on to chapter 2. But before the Black Knight arrives, maybe I should explain how 3 regular guys happen to find themselves facing death by shish kebab. Okay, think about that for a minute. A shish kebab is like a giant stick, like a bamboo skewer, and usually you put chunks of meat or vegetables that you cut up on them. And so if you were death by a shish kebab, I think maybe he's talking about the sword that the Black Knight is carrying, that he's about to poke through all 3 boys, like they're going to be the ones stuck on a shish kebab. So even though it's a really short little sentence, there's a lot to unpack on that. What Joe's about to do is what they do in all 4 of the books, and they like to recap. They like to fill the audience in, fill in the reader, on how they got to this place, on how they time traveled. So we're going to find out how the 3 boys got to this medieval times. Joe's going to tell us. It all started with my birthday party. My 2 best friends, Fred and Sam, were over at my house. We were just sitting around the kitchen table doing birthday kind of things. You know, like eating junk, drinking soda, looking at the baseball my sister gave me. My mom started scooping up wrapping paper to throw away. That's when Sam found the other present. "Hey, Joe, here's one you missed." Sam held up a small rectangular present. It was wrapped in black and gold paper. "Who's it from?" "Your mom read the card and made a sour face." "Your Uncle Joe." "Yahoo!" Uncle Joe was the best uncle anybody could have. He was a magician for a traveling circus, and his presents were always the best. Uncle Joe's stage name was Joe the Magnificent. I was named after him. Before he went off the deep end, my mother always added. Now, do you have a favorite aunt or uncle, or maybe it's a favorite family friend? Just like Joe seems to have his favorite Uncle Joe. That's good. If you do, that's wonderful. The card says, "Happy birthday, magician in training. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it." "This is weird paper," said Sam, wiggling the present back and forth in the light. "I'll bet it's one of those disappearing coin trick boxes," said Fred. "That would have come in handy last year. You could have used it to make all those rabbits disappear." Mom still had her sour face on. "Well, that wasn't really Uncle Joe's fault," I said. "I gave the hat the wrong command." "Come on already, open it," said Fred. I pulled back the black and gold paper and lifted it up. It's just a book," said Fred, rolling my baseball around the table. And it was a book, but it wasn't like any book I'd ever seen before. It was such a dark, dark blue that it looked almost black, like the sky at night. It had gold stars and moons along the back edge, and twisting silver designs on the front and back that looked like writing from a long time ago. I looked closer and read the title, The Book. "Great name for a book," said Sam. Mom looked relieved. "Hey, let me see." Fred dropped the baseball on the kitchen table and grabbed the book out of my hand. "Wait a minute, Fred. Be careful." Here's a picture of the book. Fred opened the book. There was a picture of a guy on a black horse standing on a path at the edge of a small clearing. He was dressed from head to toe in black armor, like you see in those books about knights and castles. He didn't look very happy. Oh man, said Fred, wouldn't it be great to see knights and all that stuff for real? All of a sudden, wisps of pale green mist began to swirl around the kitchen chairs. Joseph Arthur, close that book and stop that smoking this instant, said Joe's mom. I grabbed the book and slammed it shut. The mist rose over the table, the stove, the refrigerator. Mom and the kitchen disappeared. And for just a second, I got that feeling you get when you dream you're falling. Then the mist and the feeling were gone. And Fred, Sam, and I were standing at the edge of the clearing. We stood at one end of a small path. At the other end stood the Black Knight. That's the end of chapter 2. Now, think about what's happened so far. How did they travel back in time? Let's see if I can show you a picture of it. That's right, it was Joe's present of this. What's this called? The book. And Sam's like, oh, what a great name for a book that is. And that when they read something in the book, and Fred talked about going back to a specific time, it moved them back to that time. And they traveled with wisps of a pale green mist coming up around. So again, it's a fantasy book. It can never really happen in real life, but it's super cool. So we learned how they traveled back in time. All right, I'm going to read you chapter 3 in the next part. So stay tuned because this is an exciting part to see if they're going to defeat the Black Knight or not.